Today we are in a better financial position than we have been in the past 2 years. But yes, there's cash in the bank. We continue to meet all of our obligations in a timely manner. But to talk about the deficits or the negative fund balances, I mean, this has existed in every audit that we could find. We find references back to our 1979 audit. In those audits, they talk about, our negative cash balances, our deficit funds. And the main reason that occurs is we're typically waiting for some source of funding, be it special assessments, bond proceeds, or grants. One of the things that happened last year and the year before was the ARA projects, where the federal government wanted us to go out with shovel-ready projects, and they would send us the money, at a later date, and that's exactly what we did. We went out, we spent money that the city had, and we waited to be reimbursed. And some of it is a timing matter. I mean, while you're waiting to be reimbursed, you could be at the end of a fiscal year, and that money would come in the following year. But that's what happened.
Well, I think the number of projects we do has been hurt more by the economy than by our accounting practices. Those are, some of these terms, Ray, that people are throwing around like deficit financing. We've got this big deficit. That's not true. I think people are using terms that they don't understand. What Diane was explaining is that we might have 2 or 3 different funds. One could have a negative balance. The other 2 could have positive balances, more than enough to cover the negative balance, but we get cited because there's one fund that has a negative balance. At the end of every year, and I was in finance back in 25 years ago, city budget director and then finance director, so between Diane and I, we have over 25 years experience at this. And we take the finances very seriously, always have. And that's why we've received 25 consecutive years of audit and budget awards from the Government Finance Officers Association. We've had clean audits every year. And this past year, the year that the auditor found us to be in fiscal caution, we received another clean audit. So the audits are fine. There's money at the end of the year. It's more of a terminology issue. How do you account for this? Should you put the money here or should you put the money there? The money is there. It's just where should it be located? And as Diane said, we're going to change things around to comply with his interpretation. We've had this done the same way since 1986 when I started and getting involved in the audits of the city. We've done this the same way, and it's been a practice. Every auditor has known about it. They've all cited it in our audits, and they've all said, we understand. We do, when we sign a grant agreement, like Diane said regarding the stimulus money, we trust the federal government, when we sign a grant agreement, is going to pay us. So yes, we do spend the money first and get reimbursed later. When we issue assessments, same way. We do the project first. 2 years later, when all the project costs are known, then we assess the property owners. We know that money is coming in. It always has forever. So I guess he's just maybe looking at it a little differently and wants you to organize your funds differently, but I don't see how that will change the way we operate the city. It's always been operated well. It's always been operated fiscally cautiously. And in fact, it's benefited us. I mentioned the other day that some cities were not able, some of these grants require a local share. You've got to have cash on hand, a local share for a project. Akron has been so fiscally cautious and well managed that we've always been able to have the local share on hand to match federal grants. Some cities don't. They have to turn the money back. They can't compete for these grants. We've always been able to, which is why we were very successful in the stimulus projects, because we got over $100 million in Akron for stimulus projects because we were able to, because of the way we've run our ship. Everything is in order. We've had money in the bank. We've been able to match those grants and move forward and put hundreds and hundreds of people to work.
This is not a situation where anybody's done anything wrong. There's no money missing. There's our audits have been done properly. We've received reported everything correctly in the audits. Everything has been presented accurately. And when you talk about the numbers, I'll let Diane talk about that.
Okay.
But the system, it does not mean that it's 87 million deficit. It's an accrual method. It's not a cash deficit.